Okay, what's up guys? It's me, Zeb. It's a new year, it's 2020, and it took me a while to come and give you guys some stuff before the year ended and up to now. So, as you could possibly hear, or probably hear, you hear a lot of jackhammering and a lot of stuff going on outside. Well, I tried to wait to do something for you guys and let that pass over, but they've been here for quite some time and I don't know when they're leaving. They're doing some work out in the street and there is nowhere else for me to really go to kind of run away from that outside of my kids' room, but I don't want to really go in there. It's a hot mess. So, but I'm here today, new year, new everything, and I'm here to really kind of talk about sound. It's ironic that there's a lot of noise going on, and the thing I want to talk about today, of all things, is sound. And sound is very critical to your video source. And as a sound guy myself, I realized how important that is. Or I shouldn't say I realized, I know how important that is to your film stuff. Whether you do YouTube or you're doing some kind of documentary or short or interviews or anything like that, it's very critical that sound is really more a part of your filmmaking than your filmmaking is of itself. So we could be forgiving for somewhat of a bad quality video, but sound, if we have to crank it up and we really still can't hear, sound is critical. So how do we deal with those things? Well, I'm not gonna kind of give you how to deal with it as opposed to what I have in my possession that allows me to say this may be one of the things you may really want to get your hands on. And that is a lav mic. Particularly this one. It's by Alvoxcon, and it's the Alvoxcon TG-2. And it's fairly affordable if you're trying to get into the market of just really using a basic lav mic wireless for your setup. Now, a lot of people don't mind using mics. I have a mic connected to this camera as well as I have this connected to me right now. You have an option to use something like this if you don't have any kind of assistance with a person with a boom mic, or you don't have an actual mic that will actually capture your sound as close as possible. One day I'll get into how you can kind of really get into a whole sound setup if it's just really you by yourself, or if you're with a small crew, and how you can capture sound for interviews and things of that nature. Now the Alvoxcon TG-2 is not bad. It is not the top of the line like Sennheiser or some Sony models, but this is not too bad as long as you place it in the right place. So one of the things that I've found with me, not using it upon myself, but using it on others, I usually tend to set it in weird places on them. Places that are traditionally not a bad place to set them, but I realized with one setup that I did, I put the lav mic on the collar, but the airings of the host or the interviewer was actually going against the sound of the mic, thus, of course, creating horrible sound. It was just really horrible. It was just knocking up against the whole entire thing. I was able to hear her, and I was able to hear the interviewee. His was set properly, but I didn't have a way to set the sound so that I could hear it beforehand. And that's another thing that's really important when it comes down to listening to your sound, if you could listen to it depending on who you are and what your setup is. Now I have the ability to set it up, and I'll show you that little doodad. It's just nothing more than a 3.4 or 3.5, whatever the size. I never remember these things. It's nothing more than an adapter that attaches to my camera and allows me to hear the input signal coming in as they're wearing the mic. So if I were able to hear that knocking of the sound prior, I would have been able to actually hear them. I didn't bring my headphones with me, and I just completely, or I don't think I really did, I set it up to the camera exactly. I think what I did was I connected it to another device, which did not give me the ability to hear it. It could have either been a secondary camera, or it could have been the iPad, which I may have set the connection to. Which brings me to this point. This does allow you to connect to not just a camera, but to any mobile device, iPhone, iPad, and it comes with an adapter. Let me show you the adapter. It comes with one of these, right? So it allows you to connect to that there, and as well, so if you want to connect this to, if you want to connect the transmitter to this, well, it's not if. You connect the transmitter through this, and this piece goes into your mobile device, and this piece here goes into your laptop if you wish to use a computer or sorts and use the recording device that's in there, or use the recording software that's in there, and it will pull the info in. So for $80-something, this is not a bad investment. The Alvoxcon TG-2 is not bad as long as you set it up correctly. And I think that's with any setup of any lav mic. As long as you set it up correctly, you will get good sound. Batteries last for about a good 2 hours or so. I've done 2 interviews with them, and by the time I got home, the receiver itself didn't really go down for too long, and it doesn't take too long for them to charge right away. It actually charges pretty quickly. With the transmitter, it was kind of low before I wanted to use it today. It took me nothing more than 3 minutes just to get a little bit of a boost, and now it's been working ever since. So the charge time doesn't really take too long. As long as you have a charge, you would have everything running smoothly. And again, placement of the lav mic is critical. Better the bells, or the more bells, the more whistles, the better the sound. 90% of the time, that's gonna be more money. But for $80-something, which we got on Amazon, it is not bad. There is a little bit of noise that comes through it, so that is kind of one of the losing points you may have when actually using it. So be mindful if you're using it on a DSLR. You have to kind of drop the volume internally on your DSLR, so that way when you boost the sound, no more than the sound and not noise comes along with it. Be mindful of that. I had that issue before when I first tested it out. I tested it out on my Canon, and I found that there was still noise, and I knew out the box it couldn't have been the lav mic. It was definitely the camera that was creating the noise before the actual unit was. So once I got that fixed and figured it out, it still had a little bit of noise here and there, but it wasn't the worst thing. So again, more bells and whistles, the more money you spend to eliminate those things. But for $80-something, you can't go wrong. It's not bad. It's pretty decent. I like it. We intend to use it. Eventually we may switch to something a little bit more powerful, but for the most part, it gets the job done. And again, placement of where you put it is critical. The one thing this does not allow me to do is separate the channels. So when I say separate the channels, I mean this mic would be on me, and I would have one channel for myself, and then the other person will have a separate channel. Once everything is recorded into the sound of the film device, it is baked in. And it doesn't only apply to the film itself. Once it's recorded, everybody is on the same channel. Is that a bad thing or a good thing? Well, it depends on how you really want to play with the sound itself. You know, you may want one person on one side and another person on the other side. I mean, it totally depends on what it is that you're trying to do. But the sound does get baked in, and that is what you get for the price range. If you want something that actually does allow you to separate the channels, again, you're going up a lot more in the buck area. So that is one of those bells and whistles type of things. So for the most part, you hear the sound outside. I think you can hear me despite all that craziness that's going on out there. And between this mic and the camera mic, I think I may have covered some angles of this without really you losing me and you not being able to hear me. So if anything, I could boost up the signal a little bit more, and then you should be able to hear me despite what's going on outside. I wish they would hurry up and finish that stuff. It's really been driving me crazy for the last couple of weeks. I mean, I don't know what it is that they're doing, but they need to hurry up and finish. Hope you guys like what I had to give you today. Hit the like, hit the bell, hit the little subscribe thing, and I will be coming back. I hope you guys had a great past year, and let's make this new year something to remember. Even though I've been late, it's almost the end of the month, and I apologize.